Good morning. Welcome to Workforce Skills with John Morris. It's the week of Christmas. What do you have planned for the holidays? What are you doing? How's work going? Spending time with the family, or are you just hanging out, relaxing? Is it snowing where you're at? Or is it raining? Or is it warm? What's the weather like? We have this time of year and everybody's happy. It's festive. There's people driving around. For us going to job, it's really difficult with all the traffic out there going around the Phoenix area, the state of Arizona. Everybody's traveling. Make sure you guys are safe for the holidays. But what I want to kind of focus on today is, the holidays come up and we have a tendency to spend extra money. We're buying presents for family, we're doing different things, and we're taking more time off. How does it affect our pocketbook? Are we living paycheck to paycheck? How are we going to prepare for this? And I think we live in a day and age where everybody puts everything on the credit cards. We pay it off later. I think we need to reevaluate our financial situations and what are we willing to do to make sure we're able to provide for our families, to be able to give them the presents that they want. So what I want to focus on is we threw out a blast message to all our employees. Part of that message was, hey, holidays are coming. We're taking Tuesday off. We're taking Wednesday off for Christmas. We're taking the following week, that Wednesday off. I think that's the first, if I'm not mistaken, of New Year. We are working New Year's Eve day. We are going to do that. But moving forward, we want our employees to look at this and know what's coming up. We want to know their expectations of we're not working or we are working. But we also have the opportunity for Saturdays and Sundays coming up. We'll help them make up those days, make up those hours so they can get a full paycheck, so they don't have to struggle. There's nothing worse than going into the new year and struggling financially because you overextended your money. You bought more presents than you should have. Maybe your rent's going up in the new year. There's so many things to look at. Maybe you're traveling. Maybe you've got hotel expenses, flight expenses. Everybody's spending extra this time of the year. So what are you doing to make sure that you're not going to struggle, to make sure that you're going to be financially secure and stable? That's what you have to start looking at in your own personal life. We have to evaluate our budget and think about what we're spending on. We have a couple guys that work for us that really struggle with a budget. So I sit down with each one of them and we break it down. I have one guy working for me. He has more credit cards than I do. There's something wrong with that situation. You should not have more than 2 or 3 credit cards. This guy's got 6 or 7, I think. It's ridiculous. And they're all maxed out. And he's making the minimum payment on each one of those cards. And he's struggling paycheck to paycheck. We need to fix this before it gets out of hand. So I'm sitting down with him every single week. We're discussing his income, discussing where his money's going, discussing his bills, discussing what he's able to set aside. I want him to be successful. And if he cannot handle his own financial situation, then how can I expect him to be a productive employee or to estimate a job or do a job cost sheet for me and understand it and be productive at it? If you can't handle your own financial situations in your personal life, then you're not going to be able to handle a financial situation within our business. You are going to struggle. I'm not going to look at you as a person that's going to be able to advance in our company. You are going to be someone that could possibly cause us harm on a job, cause us harm financially, and that's not the type of person I want to put in those upper management positions. So one thing I've started doing with all our employees is everybody that comes on, we go over a budget with them. We talk about their finances. We talk about their budget, especially guys starting out as a helper with no experience at $18 an hour is typically how they start out. I want them to understand what their budget is and what they're capable of. Because if they can't figure out a budget moving forward in their personal life, they're not going to be able to do one for me as a business. It's just not going to work. So I want them to be successful. I want to help guide them. And some people might say, well, you shouldn't be involved in your employees' personal lives and their business. Why not? Why not help them become successful? Why not help guide them the right direction? Most of us business owners are in a position because we've been good at handling finances and we're profitable and we know how to run a P&L sheet. Most of our employees don't. It's time to educate them and teach them. I've talked time and time again, whether it's on here or to other groups and in meetings about how our school system is a one size fits all, and we don't teach our children about money and finances. They need to learn at a young age to understand money, how to invest, how to save, what to do with your money, what the value of that dollar is. We need to start to educate everybody on understanding money. We have to understand the value of the dollar and what it can do for us. We have to understand our credit cards and what the rates are and percentages. And, if you don't pay it on time, what happens? How does that affect your credit score? A lot of people don't even understand that. They don't have a clue what that means. I guide each one of my employees to download a credit score app on their phone, to follow it, to update it, to understand their credit score, how it works, and to help guide them the right direction. I want every one of my employees to know when they buy a car, they can get a good interest rate. Or if they want to buy a home, they can get a good rate. Or they don't have to struggle making that house payment or that car payment. That's the goal. Because if they do, they're going to struggle working for you. If they're struggling financially, they're struggling in their personal life, guess where that overflows to? I'm the type of person, I try to teach everybody that works for me, leave your feelings at the door, leave your problems at the door. Don't bring your home problems to work and don't bring your work problems to home. But some people can't do that. And if they're struggling at home financially, if they're struggling at home in their personal situations or in their marriage or something happens, it's going to overflow into work. And it will affect your jobs. It will affect the job costs. It's going to affect the productivity on the job. It's going to roll over. It might cause an argument with another employee because of something they're dealing with at home. We don't want to see that happen. We must be involved with every person in the company, every employee. We need to know what makes them tick, what makes them want to come to work. We have to understand our employees. To understand our employees will help them understand the productivity and what our expectations are at work. So as we start to have Christmas in 2 days, obviously you guys are going to be watching this on Thursday when it drops after Christmas, but know that this was recorded prior to Christmas. How are you moving into the holidays? How are you going past Christmas in your financial situation? What are you going to change to make your financial situation better? What are your goals to improve? And as employers out there, we need to look at our employees and help them and guide them, because some of them don't have a clue what they're doing. No one's educated them. No one's told them how to budget, how to finance, how to do different things. We have to teach them. How do you expect them to move up in your company and be an asset to your company if they can't budget their own personal situations? I don't want that person running my books. I don't want that person bidding a job for me or watching man hours on a job, making sure I'm staying within budget if they can't budget their own personal life. It's just not going to work. So we have to help them. We have to guide them. One thing we're going to be doing in our next Saturday training, which we are doing, I believe it's the 15th of January, we're going to do it. If that's a Saturday, if I remember correct, that's going to be our next training within our business, in our company. It's going to be on a Saturday. It's open to whoever wants to come in. It's not mandatory. One of the main focuses is going to be budgeting, going over a budget for everybody to understand. And maybe not everybody needs that. Not everybody's in the same place, but if they could maybe listen, learn, maybe just sitting next to somebody that's struggling, they could mentor them, help guide them. That's the idea within our companies. Everybody becomes a mentor. Everybody's helping somebody. We have to learn to help them get through their financial situations. And it's tough. I know at the holidays with Christmas, we want to buy our kids everything they want. This is my first Christmas that I get to spend with my grandson this year. And he's a year and a half. And oh my goodness, you can imagine, I wanted to spoil the hell out of this kid. I wanted to buy him everything under the sun. Till my daughter said, "Dad, slow down. He doesn't need it." And so we're doing the bare minimum. He's getting 3 presents. And it's less than $200. But it's not about the cost. It's not about the value. It's about the excitement, the memories that are going to be created. He's a year and a half. He doesn't need that go-kart that's motorized and runs and off of gas. And yeah, I wanted to get him that, but I had to step back, and instead we're doing a little toy tyke one, the red and yellow one that he can hop in and move with his feet. He's getting a little play golf clubs and the sandbox that my daughter wanted for him. And it's something that he'll have for quite some time. But when I look at that, when is he going to outgrow that stuff? Is he going to remember his first Christmas with his grandfather? I don't know. I don't remember mine. I couldn't even tell you what I got for that Christmas unless I go back through a photo album and look at pictures. That's the only way I remember what was given to me back then. It's just a memory. So I'm trying to create memories for myself that he's never going to remember. The fact that I'm going to be with him on Christmas is all that matters. And if I can be there to guide my grandson, to mentor him, to make him a better person as he grows up, that's the real gift. That's the real outcome of this. It's the memories that we create, that we have with our families, and that we can cherish with them. So hopefully a lot of you out there can learn from your mistakes. I know I do. I've learned from some major financial mistakes that I've made for myself or created, either by accident or lack of knowledge, lack of understanding. If you're one of those people out there that you're struggling around the holidays financially and you've overspent, I think we can look at the next year, sitting down and making us a budget for the holidays. Start creating a budget on what you're going to spend, what you're going to do. Prepare yourself. Maybe don't overextend yourself on credit cards. Maybe prepare as the year goes along. Maybe it's every paycheck. You get paid every Friday. Open up a savings account. Drop $20 in it every Friday. We do direct deposit. I've got one guy, he's got his paycheck going to 3 different accounts. Don't know why. Don't know what the theory is behind that. I haven't had a chance to sit down and talk with him about his budget yet, but that's what he does. You can structure that so you don't even see it. It just automatically goes into that savings account. And if you do that $20 every week, every Friday, up to Christmas, what could you accomplish? What would that pay for? Think about what you've spent this year on Christmas. Would that cover your presents for your family, your kids? I mean, that would make a nice little Christmas for somebody. Maybe it's $50. Maybe it's $10. You find something that works for you. Maybe you start out with $20, but in 3 months you got a raise and you got $1 an hour raise. You're working 40 hours a week. That's an extra $40. Maybe you add another $10 to that. Put that in there. Help yourself get ahead. We constantly run this world off of credit and financing, and we've got to learn to save. We got to learn to create our own cash flow and to support ourselves. In a business, we talk about cash flow and what we're doing to create our own cash flow. I want enough money in the bank that I've got enough cash flow that I can self-finance any project we're on. I can make payroll for 6 months to a year. I want to make sure we're in a lucrative position to where we're financially stable. And we need to learn to do that in our personal lives. I look at each employee and I see the struggles. I can't judge people by they buy a pack of cigarettes every day. Where's that money going? They go out to eat to McDonald's or Burger King or fast food every day. I can't judge them on that. But when they come to me and say, man, John, I just can't seem to save money, but I see what they're doing in their personal lives, I'm going to have that conversation with them. I'm not going to say anything to them that I think about it or I think they shouldn't be doing that until they come to me or we have that sit down and we discuss what they're spending. It's not cheap to buy a pack of cigarettes or go to a fast food restaurant every day for lunch. How much money could you save by cutting that out right at the beginning? I'm trying to save money. I want to do this, John, but I can't figure this out. Well, buy a pack of cigarettes a day. What's that cost you? How can you cut back on that? Go out to eat every day for lunch. How much would you spend at the grocery store if you packed a lunch every day versus going out to eat every day? You have to weigh these different situations. With the holidays here, it's everybody spending money like it's being printed off a press right there in front of you. Slow down. Christmas shouldn't be about buying the biggest, nicest thing for somebody that's going to break in a week. How many people out there have children and when they get a present, their kids are more interested in the box that it came in than the actual gift? I remember my kids like that when they were little. I see all kinds of videos on social media. People post pictures and videos of that. It's crazy. Kids aren't going to remember that 2 weeks down the road where it came from or when they got it. So, what really matters? It's the memories, it's the videos you make, it's the pictures you take that they're going to see many, many years down the road. And what they're going to see in those pictures wasn't about the gifts, it was who was in the pictures with them, what they were doing. It was that beautiful Christmas tree. It was a family together, or maybe it's everybody sitting at the table having that turkey or that ham. That's what they're going to remember. That's what they're going to see for many years to come. Give them the memories. It's not about the money. It's not about the gifts. It's you got to start fixing your financial situation. Don't overspend. Don't ever overextend yourself. You know, we some guys out there live paycheck to paycheck and it's a struggle. But yeah, they're the first ones to go spend every extra penny they have and every penny they don't have on giving everything nice to their family, their kids. You don't have to do that. Oh, but John, I got to give them the best. No, they've got you. You are the best. Start thinking about what you're doing and how you're doing it. Will they appreciate the fact that you're financially stable? They got a roof over their head. They got food. They got clothes. That's what matters. So start to reevaluate, what does Christmas mean? You know, everybody's out there calling it, oh, happy holidays, this and that. I'm sorry. Merry Christmas. That's how we say it in our house. But what does Christmas mean? What is the true meaning of Christmas at this time? And I, we're all about giving. And for me, I want to give everybody a present. I want to do something for them. But I'm very humble because I don't need anything in return. I don't want anything. For me, it's the joy of making someone else happy. That's what Christmas means to me. Christmas to me means seeing the joy in someone else's face. And I would challenge everybody out there, and I'm going to give you guys some homework here. You know, anybody watching this podcast on YouTube or any other platform, I want you to message on there what Christmas meant to you, what it means to you. Reply to this. I want to know what it means to you. I sincerely mean that. I'm giving to you what it means to me. For me, it's seeing the joy in other people's face. That's what Christmas is. It's the memories that I can create for somebody else that they're going to remember for a lifetime. That's always going to be there in a picture, a video, in their memory bank. That's what Christmas means to me. I want to enjoy it with somebody that's going to share it with me, that gets something more out of this. That's what we're looking for. Creating memories, long lasting. So as we wrap up the holidays and we're going into the new year, we have to prepare. We've got all these memories. We've had all this fun. But now we got New Year's Eve and New Year's Day coming up, and everybody's calling off for the next day because they're hungover. You know, we've made it a habit to where we just take the first off. You know, we will work that day, New Year's Eve. You know, our day starts at 6, 7 in the morning. Most of our guys are off by 3:30 at the latest, 4 o'clock. That still gives you time to go home, maybe take a nap so you can stay up till midnight. I can't remember the last midnight I made it to. It's been a while. We don't go out. I don't drink. Um, Not a big party guy. I work and go home. You know, we'll sit there and we'll watch the East Coast, you know, so I can go to bed at 10 o'clock or whatever time it is. I can't make it to midnight. But one thing we do as a company is we schedule the first off. It surprises me how many people, when we ask them, hey, who wants to work, commit to this, we schedule everybody to work or not work. We give people the opportunity to take time off if they want it for the holidays. We're not going to force anybody to work. But if we schedule work on the first and you commit to it and you don't show up because you stayed up too late or something happened, don't commit to it. Don't say you're going to be there if you know you're going out to do something or you're going to hang out with your family or you're trying to stay up to midnight, but you got to get up at 4 o'clock the next morning and get ready for work. It's not going to work. So prepare yourself the right way. Don't commit to something that you're not going to continue with. You're going to commit to showing up to work on New Year's Day, and we're going to have work going on that week, Monday through Friday, even though the office will be shut down on that first. We are open New Year's Eve day. We have to. We have constant work going on nonstop. But I want everybody to have the opportunity to have that time off. The whole management team, they have to submit a time off request for the holidays. Our estimating department, we coordinate it between the estimators. We can't have everybody just disappearing. We need some of the guys in there to cover in case bids come in. It does slow down this time of year. Other offices, other general contractors are shutting down. So we do deal with that a little bit. But overall, I want people to have the time off that they need. But make sure if you're requesting that time off, that you're taking the time off for the right reasons. You're doing what you need to. Don't ask, don't say commit to working and then not show up because you wanted that time off. We give everybody the opportunity to let us know whether they want to work or not. And we have some guys that say, no, I don't want to work. I want to spend it with the family. I want to do this. And then a couple of days later, they come back, you know what? No, I need the money. I need to work. I'm going to come in. And if you do that, make sure you come in. Make sure you show up to the job site because we gave you the opportunity to take that time off. And if you say you were going to show up, make sure you show up. That's no different than a normal Saturday or overtime during the year. If we send out a blast message to our employees saying, hey, we need 5 guys to work on Saturday, who's going to commit? And we get 20 people committing to wanting to work on Saturday, and we pick 5 of those people, and one of them doesn't show up, but yet I had all these other guys committing that could have been there. Don't do that. At that point, you just burned yourself. You might not get another opportunity. We might not commit to having you work the next time we need help on a weekend. That shows me you were given the opportunity to work overtime hours and you just totally gave it up. You blew it off when somebody else could have been making that money. If you commit to show up, make sure you show up. Make sure you're going to be there because there's other people relying on this overtime, relying on these extra hours to pay their bills, to pay off everything they just spent on Christmas. They need that money. But we gave that opportunity to you and you just blew it off. Don't be that person. That does not reflect well when you do show up to work the following day. It's not going to be a pleasant conversation that we have with you. Now, the question lies, do we write that person up at that point or do we not? It was overtime. It was extra. You're not being forced to work it. But if you commit to do that, I think you should be written up. You committed to it. You blew it off as if you didn't care. You should be written up for that. Or maybe it's a verbal warning with a written letter in your employee file that you went through this situation. Especially when there's so many people out there that could have used that extra money, those extra overtime hours that you just blew off. Not only that, now what does it do to our crew working on the weekend? If we needed 5 guys and only 4 show up and we have to have that job done that day, now all of a sudden we're scrambling. We're working twice as hard. You just impacted the 4 other people that you were supposed to work with. How does that reflect on them? How are they going to look at you the next day when you do come into work? What kind of feedback are you going to get from those other employees? Sure, they're not going to appreciate you. It's going to be a little bit disappointing. The other thing I want to throw out there to you guys too is going into the new year, everybody's making those New Year's resolutions. They're committing to what they're going to do starting the first of the year, whether it's losing weight, creating better habits, maybe it's finding a new job, maybe it's buying a car, buying a house, whatever your New Year's resolution is going to be, maybe it's quitting smoking, whatever the case is, make sure you commit to it. It's why wait till a date and time to schedule something? Just commit to it now. Don't wait for it. I did that years and years ago. I remember sitting there, it was around Christmas, and I was with my ex-wife, and I said, you know what? I'm going to quit smoking. Come first year, I'm going to quit. That's going to be my New Year's resolution. And I started thinking about it. I thought to myself, you know what? I'm setting a day and time when I'm going to do this, which means I'm probably not going to keep that commitment. I'll probably quit for a few days and then start back up. And I told myself, if I'm serious about this, I'm going to stop right here, right now. Why wait? If I'm really going to commit to this, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right now. It's mind over matter. And I told myself, I'm not going to be weak minded. I'm going to be stronger than this little cigarette in my hand. And so that moment, I remember that I threw everything away, threw cigarettes away, lighters, ashtrays, anything. Never smoked in the house, never smoked in my vehicles because of my kids, but I threw everything away right then and there. And I told her, I'm quitting this. And I told myself at that moment, if I can commit to this, if I can do this, I can do anything. That was a changing, defining moment in my life where I committed to something and I mentally controlled myself. And I told myself, I'm not going to let this little tobacco, paper, filtered cigarette control me. Nothing's going to control me. I'm going to control my own destiny. I'm going to control my own situation. And that's what I did to quit smoking. And I've never picked up since then. Now, I do enjoy a cigar once in a while. I got to admit, I do enjoy that. It's a little bit different. But I committed to that. I made it happen and never picked one up again. The point I'm trying to make is if you're going to commit to something for the new year, start now. Don't set a date and time. If you can do that, you will become mentally stronger than you ever thought you could be because you are controlling your mind. You're rewiring your mind so you can control the situation instead of letting other things control you. Start focusing on making changes now today. If you start thinking about a change, make it happen right in that moment. Don't wait. Don't put it down the road. Oh man, I'm going to start going to gym, but I'm going to start next week. No, if you thought about going to the gym, start today. And if you can't get to the gym today, go for a walk around the block. Do something. Drop down and give me 20. Do push-ups. Do something. Because the thought process started right there. And you can change your thought process. You can change how you rewire your mind by just doing that. You're going to become stronger. And as you become stronger and you start controlling situations around you, you start to realize how life will change for you. Things will start happening for the better. I've seen it in my own personal life, how I've learned to control situations. I've learned to control things around me for positive reactions, positive situations, just by looking at a situation, saying, no, I'm going to do this. Nope, I'm going to do it now. I'm not setting a date and time. It's happening right here, right now. It's going to happen. I'm going to force this situation. So when it comes to a New Year's resolution, think about what you're doing, how you're doing it, and when you're going to do it. Don't wait. Just do it now. Make it happen. You know, it's been an interesting year as we close out the year. I think we're on podcast 44, 45. I've really enjoyed doing this. You know, my New Year's resolution going into the New Year's to continue doing this podcast and to continue to grow as a person, to continue to educate myself, continue to read. I'm going to exercise more. I do now. I go for walks. I work out. I drop and do push-ups in the morning. I'm going to continue this. I'm going to continue to grow. But if there's anything we look at this year that we accomplished, run into the new year and make it bigger. Start to make changes now. You know, I said this a couple podcasts ago. Focus on the new year. If you start now, it becomes a habit before you even get into the new year, and it'll just be repetition. Don't set a day and time. Start now. You know, I've really enjoyed doing this podcast over the year. It's been a pleasure. I enjoy all the feedback I get from all you out there that watch this, listen to this. I do read every comment, every message. It's interesting how some people have actually called my work office and gotten in contact with me. It's been a pleasure talking with you guys and gals. Continue to do that. Continue to grow. Continue to educate yourself in the new year. I wish everybody Merry Christmas, Happy New Year and stay hungry. Thank you.